So I've got a slightly different take on the presentation today. Like Mark Twain used to say, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one. I was up until 1 a.m. last night after a wine or two trying to shorten our presentation, so we'll see how that goes. So without much ado, I'll get stuck into it. So make sure the thingamajigger works. We actually have a new disclaimer. It's fantastic. It's twice as long as the last one. If you feel like having a read, please do so. So Dreadnought Resources, we've been around for about 3.5 years now. We're a junior explorer. We're rapidly becoming not so much a junior explorer. We have a track record of delivering discoveries in new terrains that have been unloved within Western Australia. That seems like a bit of an oxymoron, unloved in Western Australia and new terrains, a very heavily explored area. But we love digging into the history of different regions of the geology and finding the opportunities that are sticking out of the ground. We view going undercover as a graveyard for junior explorers. Look at the Albany Fraser as a case and example of that. And so what we've done over the last 3.5 years is acquire significant land holdings in what we deem as very unloved and very prospective terrains, oftentimes looking for commodity A and finding commodity B because that's what happens and that's how a lot of big discoveries are made. So over the last 3.5 years, we have routinely put boots on ground, news into the market, and money into the ground. We've invested $3.3 million of our own money. We're not a lifestyle company, and by doing what is right and by doing what a junior exploration company should do, we started off a couple years ago delivering the Metzke's gold discovery, some nice high-grade gold, and then last year we discovered the Orion copper cobalt discovery up in the Kimberley, undercover, very exciting. This year we were supposed to be up there, but then I identified and discovered some outcropping rare earths next to Hastings Yangibana operation, and that's taken us from a 3 mil market cap and a 0.3 share price up to the 10 cents that we are today and 350 mil market cap that we are today. And what I want to really emphasize in that is that we're just getting started on each of these, what we consider quite significant opportunities, not only in the rare earths that we see right now, but also in the copper and cobalt, also of the nickel joint venture we have with First Quantum. We have built a fantastic portfolio of critical metals that are needed for the future, and we're continuing to advance these very aggressively. So I'll get started straight into the rare earths. That's what's driven us most recently and where we're currently drilling with 2 rigs. So our Mangaroon project, located in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia, just over here. We're sort of halfway in between where Hastings is going to be building their hydromet facility up in Onslow and where Iluka is building their Eneabba refinery for processing rare earths down south of Geraldton. We're also not much further away from where Lynas Corporation is building their refinery capabilities or the processing facilities in Kalgoorlie. What's important about that is we are a bit of a free agent at the moment. We have a significant second mover advantage in that before we even drilled and put a hole into our rare earths, we were actually able to take outcropping samples, 80 kilos, take that down, and prove that we could produce a metallurgical product, prove that we could produce a high-quality monazite concentrate. Very rapidly de-risking this project from a rare earth perspective. We knew from day one, before we put a drill hole in, that we could produce a sellable product from this, and that is thanks in large part to the great, fantastic work that Hastings has done for the last 15 years. We've been able to stand on their shoulders and go through the exact same metallurgical process that they have developed. So our flow sheets has already been designed and proven on our rocks. We're rapidly evolving this into quite a significant opportunity. For years and years, Hastings, the Yangibana ferrocarbonatite complex, that's about 30 years of mapping work and exploration that's identified those ironstones. They have quite a significant resource base. They're going into production as we speak. Up until 12 months ago, there were no mineralized occurrences south of the Lions River Fault. It's a crustal scale structure. All the academics, the GSWA, and all the industry thought that mineralization stopped at the fault. We have shown in the last 12 months that it doesn't. We're quickly turning into the other half, if not more, of Hastings on the ironstone front, which are these ferrocarbonatite dikes and sills, and we're currently drilling the carbonatites plugs, which are potentially the source intrusions for that region. I was really hoping to have an update on the C1 to C5 carbonatite drilling out before this conference. However, we should finish drilling C1, that really broad, wide-spaced drilling, hopefully over this weekend or early next week. So expect an update on how that drilling is going in the next week or two. We also, so since Since we started drilling here 4 or 5 months ago, we've put in 250 RC holes and about 25,000 meters of RC drilling. We've just sent off 20 diamond holes. We're going into Yin for QAQC and metallurgical test work. So we've been very, very busy at Yin, Sabre, Y8, and the carbonatites. A few sections there. Some of the drill intercepts that we got at Yin have far exceeded the expectations of this region. Hastings Yangibana operation going into production next door. They average 2 to 3 meters thickness in their ironstone dikes. Some of their thickest intercepts are 10 to 20. Our first 6 holes were all thicker and higher grade than anything that region had ever seen before. That told us very early that we are onto something of quite high significance, because that project next door has already been de-risked going into production, and we're getting drill intercepts that are thicker and higher grade than they have ever seen in their 15 years of drilling. Not an opportunity you get very often, particularly in the rare earth space. We then quickly identified the carbonatites, which for the last 30 years people have been looking for. We put our first drill holes into that. We now have about 30, 40 drill holes into that. Very wide space drilling. Almost all the carbonatites are undercover, so we wanted to test where those carbonatites are. First off, were they carbonatites, which we did confirm, and they are mineralized. And now we're testing that on 160 by 160 meter grid spacing, which is designed for 1 to 3 holes to hit a world-class deposit. So when you look at something like Mountain Pass in California, 30 million tons at 8%, that has a footprint of 700 by 150 meters. These rare earth deposits, to be world-class, these aren't Julimars, these aren't Hemis, these aren't billions of tons. These are 30 to 50 million tons. It's a nice small target, and it's also very quick to turn around and put a resource on. So there's a lot going on at Mangaroon. We have a lot of targets we're testing, a lot of targets we're generating and advancing, putting out new resources. So I thought I'd try and simplify this a little bit and put it to what is the key catalyst and news flow coming up over the next few quarters. By the end of this year, we will have our first maiden resource out on Yin, the first 3 kilometers of that 16-kilometer trend, to talk about the importance of scale and how quick and easy, not easy, but how quick it is if you're organized and hardworking like our team is. We've gone from very first drill hole into Yin to delivering a resource here in the next couple of weeks in less than 5 months. And that's just Yin, that's just the first 3 kilometers. We have another 16 strike kilometers to go explore for. We'll be very busy next year converting our additional discoveries to resources as well. Also, by the end of the year, we'll have our first carbonatite assays out. ALS has given us the second instrument for rare earth processing. We have a meeting with them next week as well to talk about streamlining and creating new rare earth products, in particular for carbonatites, to make sure that we get not only rare earths, but niobium, titanium, phos, and other commodities that are commonly within carbonatites into a single assay package. First quarter next year, we'll be back out there with 2 RC rigs starting in February and March, and then 1 to 2 diamond rigs as well. So we'll be doubling our rig capacity next year so we can get through all of the targets that we have and convert those to resource in the first half of next year. We'll also have the continuing assays of the drilling that we're still doing right now coming into next year. So we'll have continuous assay news flow and delivering resources over the next 6 to 12 months. We also just sent off the 20 diamond holes. Those metallurgical results will be in March and April. And with that, we will have significantly de-risked the Yin project by putting out a maiden resource over the 3 kilometers and also having the MET results over that entire Yin resource as well by March, April next year. At that point, we'll also put out a Yin resource upgrade, converting that from inferred resource to indicated and potentially measured. And then we'll start delivering the additional resources on the other targets that we prioritize and drill over the next 6 months. We want to be in a position to commence scoping studies by the end of next year. That means having those resources, those targets defined, those resources delivered, and the metallurgical results delivered by the end of next year. So it'll be very, very busy work for Dreadnought at Rare Earths, and that's certainly going to be a significant focus for us over the next 6 to 12 months. We also have our first quantum joint venture, earn-in, going on in the background. So a nice little free kick while we're doing the Rare Earths. First Quantum is currently undertaking 12 strike kilometers of fixed loop EM surveys. We have a very live and active magmatic sulfide system at the Money Intrusion, and they are searching for significant trap sites to look for massive sulfides within that intrusion. So expect news flow of that in the background, fully funded by First Quantum. Some nice things going on in the background with nickel. Moving up to Taraji Yampi. So I alluded to last year, we made a copper cobalt discovery, our first target testing undercover. We have Nick Chapman here in the booth today. He's just spent the last 2 months up there delivering an auger program, trying to fill that pipeline with targets at the Kimberley. We've moved this is unloved. This area was off limits to exploration since 1978. The last person to explore there was Roy Woodall himself in 1958. It's a very exciting opportunity. We have a great relationship with the Danby. We have a great relationship with the Department of Defense, and we see this as a fantastic opportunity sitting right behind those rare earths as another Ivanco-style opportunity. We see this as being quite significant in our portfolio. And what do we mean by an Ivanco-style opportunity? That's one, geological and also commercial. So we see the Orion complex as potentially being a cluster of magmatic hydrothermal deposits, similar to Ivanco over in the Carajás region. And we also see that if we can develop that portfolio, that cluster of deposits to a critical mass, then that would be very attractive to a mid-tier to large mining company to come in and partner with us to develop this asset. The way you see our focus for the last 6 months has been defining Orion's friends. We've identified already 9 other Orion lookalikes, some of them with Gaussen sticking out of the ground, with EM plates. These are going to be all pipeline filled up so that mid-next year, we'll take our RC rigs and diamond rigs up to the Kimberley and deliver a series of, hopefully, discoveries and convert those to resources. So that means over the next 12 months throughout 2023, we see that becoming one of the most exciting years yet for Dreadnought. Not only will we be delivering additional discoveries and resources and metallurgical work at the rare earths, we will also be delivering discoveries and converting resources at Orion in the Kimberley, rare earths, copper, cobalt, silver, and gold. Be a very, very busy and exciting year for us to underpin our exploration success. So we see that. We have a track record of delivering success, delivering discoveries, of one of the best, hardest working teams on the ASX. We've all worked together for the last 6 to 12 years across multiple companies, and we know how we operate. We know how to get on. We're all pretty exhausted this year. I think we're all ready for Christmas break. We still have a lot of news flow coming up by the end of the year, so I'll still be busy. But no, I think everyone's ready for a break. Morale is high, and we're really gearing up and getting excited for what next year has in store for us. So, takeaway message. Rare earths, we have the initial Yin resource, we have the remaining assays that are still being drilled right now, we have the first carbonatite assays. We see that as proving that as a significant scale opportunity, so we're very excited to get an update out on the carbonatites, and we'll also commence the follow-up drilling from that wide space drilling before the end of this year on the carbonatites. So some significant news flow coming out from that regard. Our Yin network that's already in the labs, delivered this week. Matt Crow, who was supposed to be here, hiked out on coming to Noosa for a nice trip and said he's in there cutting and processing the core to make sure it's done properly and get delivered to the lab on time. We also have additional discovery and resource drilling underway. The first quantum, news flow in the background, nice free kick. Taraji Yampi will be filling that pipeline, getting all the approvals in place and getting geared up to hit that really hard next year and deliver a strong pipeline of hopeful discoveries and convert what we have into resources. Central Yilgarn continues to sit in the background. We are reviewing that. We have the iron ore opportunity with Gina and Chris Ellerson nearby, so we're certainly looking at opportunities with the iron ore. And we also are quite interested in some of the nickel that's coming through there, and there'll be more updates on that as we come through. So thank you very much. There's a company snapshot at the end. I think most people are aware of what we are at the moment. So thank you for your time, and please come and see us at the booth.